Welcome. Could you please start by saying who you are and what you're doing here?
Sure, my name is Joost Poort and I work as a senior economist at the Institute for Information Law. That's a research group associated with the University of Amsterdam. And I'm here because I did some research on file sharing of music and games and books and video. So that's my reason to be here.
And if there was one point you really wanted to get across today, what was it?
Well, my main point is that Elvis is returning to the building.
That's great news.
Meaning that we see in our research a trend that illegal file sharing of music is going down. We compared our measurements to measurements we did 4 years ago. And we see that the downloading is on the way back for music. For video, it's still increasing. So I think that's very, very good news for the music industry. That finally, by propositions such as Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, Opio, all of them, the industry has found a way up and managed to present a proposition that is actually better than piracy.
So does it mean the music industry is saved?
Well, saved is too much to say, I think. Saved, of course, it's much. The incomes increased. The turnovers are much smaller than say 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So there's probably still a lot to be done, but the way up has been found, and I think that's very good news. And of course, some labels and parties have vanished or will still vanish. But strong new companies are coming up, and I think, well, as I say, the way up has been found.
It's interesting because a lot of companies weren't too pleased with all these streaming, record companies weren't too pleased with all these streaming services to begin with.
Yeah, I can understand that because, technology is still dramatically changing the industry. So you could ask yourself, what's the role of record companies with those services? And if you can have basically a recording studio in a laptop and you can directly sell your stuff on iTunes, what do you have labels for it? Mm-hmm. Of course, there is still a case for labels, but it's a changing and diminishing case. So I can understand that many parties involved are kind of skeptical about new entrants, and of course there's discussion about the money actually flowing from, say, Spotify to artists, which is very obscure and transparent, and not a lot of money. They're not suddenly becoming all millionaires, all artists, but certainly there are very many good developments for artists as well, and for
so. But is the fact that piracy is diminishing, is that a good thing, especially for the artists, or is it also good for record companies and well, the representatives of the artists?
I think it's good for all parties involved. Yes, people are showing, consumers are showing that they actually not principle about not paying for music, that they are willing to pay either through spending money or through consuming advertising, pay for content. And people do actually understand that it is important that artists earn a living so that they can continue making good stuff. So I think it's good news for the entire industry.
Yeah, is it news that other industries, like for instance, a film industry or the book industry, should look at?
Certainly, yes. Yeah? Once I translated the business model in the film industry to the music industry, and when you do that consequently, it's completely ludicrous. Imagine that someone makes a song, and the first few months you can only hear it in venues, in podia, and then you can maybe hear it in planes and on cruise ships, and then you can, at some stage, you can buy the album, and then after a while you can listen to it on premium services, and finally after 2 years you can hear it on the radio. I mean that's nonsense, and that's still the business model in video. Also that a movie comes out still too often in the US or a TV series, and then 6 months later in Europe. And especially series like fantasy series that target an audience that are tech savvy, they just don't accept that. They want it all. They want it now.
Yeah.
And if you
they
if you
can
bring
get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't bring it the way people want it, people will get it. So you actually see that file sharing, illegal file sharing for TV and film is still increasing. Of course, also because of increased bandwidth. But I think the video industry still has itself to blame to some extent for that trend, whereas the music industry has found a way up. And I'm really waiting for a Spotify for TV series. Ad-sponsored. They know me, so they can target the advertisement better than when I'm watching commercial television and I get diaper advertisements that I don't want.
Yeah, because you don't have a small kid.
Exactly. So on a one-on-one basis, they know me much better, so they can target the advertising much better. So I don't see the point why that shouldn't be possible.
Yeah, and are there examples of like streaming services for television out in the world already, or for film? Are they there?
There are some, yes. Veemer and the Ximon. Ximon is a kind of art house.
Yeah, in Holland you can find it as well.
So there are some initiatives, and also there's of course video on demand. But still, video on demand is relatively expensive, and actually there is evidence that films starting with an A are watched more often on video on demand because those menus are so tiresome to go through. Ever tried searching for a film on video on demand? It's terrible.
So you end up with the A.
You end up seeing all the A movies. Well, not A movies, but movies starting with an A.
Yeah.
And the Z movies are never shown. So I mean, video on demand is doing well, also in revenue terms, but it still doesn't have the user experience that you wish for.
Yeah.
And still, there's the risk that you pay like €5 for a film that is on TV tomorrow, if you're interested in seeing an old film.
Yeah.
So the prices are still quite high. Books as well. So my concerns are for video, film, and for books. I think the game industry is doing well, and the music industry is now finally setting an example.
Yeah. So what's the big lesson to be learned from the music industry?
Well, one lesson is don't sue your customers. That's probably not a good idea. Mm-hmm. As I say, don't sue them, seduce them. So give people what they want, in a way they want. Listen to them well. Because if you don't bring it to them in the way they want, at the time they want, they will go and get it. That's the basic lesson. And I mean, get your prices right, and realize that different consumers are willing to pay different prices. So you can actually, if you target that well, you can still make a lot of money. I mean, there's a large group of people that out there with 2 square meter television screens at home who don't mind paying €10 for a high definition stream of Skyfall in the week it's launched, but they don't have time to go to the cinema because they have small kids at home. Mm-hmm. So if you present a premium high quality stream that first week, people will easily pay €10 or 15.
Yeah.
So think out of the box. Don't stick to your old patterns, your old financing structures, windowing, blah blah blah, because people don't accept that anymore.
Okay, clear. I hope we'll see a change in all the other industries as well.
Hope so too.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much for this interview.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.